All right, so am I here? My software is not. I think we're live. This is weird. My StreamYard software is telling me I'm not live, but everything else is saying I'm live. Oh, it's Twitter. There's a problem on Twitter. So, um, yeah, I'm live on YouTube. I see what it is. I'm having a problem with Twitter. Just bear with me a second. It's saying there's an error going live on Twitter. If it stops it again, I'll just have to remove Twitter. I hate to do it because I know a lot of people watch on Twitter. Let me see. An error occurred. Let me go over to Twitter and see if I'm live over there. Or is Twitter down? Twitter won't even come up on my... is Twitter having problems? Because I'm trying to get to Twitter here. And no such luck. What about the app? That's weird. Yeah, Twitter must be having problems because I can't even get the app to load. Nothing will load. So you can't even load Twitter. Twitter's acting up. All right, let me just remove Twitter as an option because otherwise I can't see the whole chat. The error message is blocking it. So I'll just remove Twitter for now. And stream is already live. I can't change the start time. I know that. Okay. Yeah, Twitter is toast. Okay. All right, we're here. We're live. Okay. DDoS attack on Twitter, right? Yeah, I don't do Twitter, right? So I wouldn't have known until this right now. So, okay, let's get comfy. All right, everybody that watches on Twitter, we're here. We're still here. Okay, so good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I know it's me again, Vincent. I know. I keep showing up. Huh? I keep showing up. You know, one thing we didn't even talk about. I'm getting there, eyes. I feel okay. Towards the end of the day, my energy level crashes. I did something last night I don't think I've done in years, which I slept straight from 9 to 6:30. I slept a straight 9.5 hours. I didn't get up. I don't even know if I moved. I don't even know if I moved last night. I woke up thinking it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning because it's still dark outside. And I looked at my phone. It said 6:39. I said, holy crap. I got Fluffy's eyebrows. Yeah, the time change. I don't know. The same thing happened the other night after the game when I did the live stream with Kyle and I did no recap. I walked upstairs. I went to bed. I got up a couple of times during the night, but I slept from 9 to 7 then. It was almost the same thing yesterday. It does exist, eyes. I don't think I've slept 9 straight hours in decades. I can't remember last time I did, but didn't even grind my teeth, man. I didn't even grind my teeth. Looking a little small muscle-wise since we better not give up any goals against. Yeah, I lost some weight. I lost a little bit of weight the last week. You know, I didn't eat for 4 days. That'd do it. Anybody wants to drop some quick weight, just don't eat for 4 days. It's my guaranteed diet plan. I should sell that. $19.99. It's the ebook. It's a really quick read. A guaranteed way to lose 5 pounds in 4 days. It's one page. Don't eat. Don't eat. Just drink some water, and that's it. The rats in Florida getting big. Hey, Kenneth. Oh yeah, okay. No, I've done fasting before. There's times when I'll do 12-hour fasts, no problem. I've done some 24 hours. You know, when I had Lyme, I did a couple of fasts. This was not intentional. So Yeah, sell the ebook for $15, make a fortune, right? Chopping off a leg, that helps too. That helps too. Panthers joked about breaking the Twitter app, and you think they did? So did everybody see the Marchand press conference? Has everybody managed to see that? It came out about 45 minutes before we started here. It already had almost 4,000 views in the first 40 minutes. Heading to the game versus Utah. Very cool, Steve. Very cool. Yeah, Marchand actually choked up a little bit talking about the whole Boston thing. Yeah, he's we're gonna cry together now, Vincent. Yeah. Somebody had asked him, I think it was George asked him about how the specifics went down with Sweeney and everything. And he didn't really want to get into the details, but he did want to specify that he's got no ill will, there's no problems. There's no animosity, bad feelings there. Do we play Boston at all again? Or is this his only chance? Yeah, man, the freaking hold on a second. Here it is. Do we play the Bruins again at all, or is that it? I don't think so. That's it. No, this is it. That's it. So he's not going to have a chance to even suit up against Boston. Now, do you think they let him put on the uniform anyway and come out like pregame and get acknowledged from the fan base? You think? Enrique says Brad Marchand, the one you hate to play against, will love to play with. Yep, exactly. So Flo says Marchand is going to come in and immediately be the sniggle boss in that locker room. It's gonna be interesting. When he they asked him about Bennett, immediately he cracked a joke. He's like, no, he's still a scumbag. And then of course he started laughing about it. So it makes sense that those guys would get along. And Marchand said the same thing he said last year about that shot that Bennett gave him. He's like, look, basically what Marchand has been saying is like, I've done shit like that. It sucks to be on this end of it, but I ain't going to hate him because I've done the same type of thing. Right? Craig says, yep, if he's able to, he'll do the pregame skate. Gotcha. Yeah, hopefully, right? Fly Guy says, I just dropped by to say that the Four Nations tournament is a terrible idea. Look what happened. I don't know, Fly. I don't know, man. Now we were able to get Seth Jones and Brad Marchand with Chucky's money. I don't know, bro. Right? Olechka says, Bill Zito is a gangster, hired a coach in his image, and the entire team is like him too. It's so beautiful, I could cry. Yeah. It's a good spot, people. It really is. Vincent says Marchand came to take Lomberg's spot. That's what I saw today, emotions and energy. I wonder, I've got a long podcast coming out for the members when this show is over. I don't know where they're going to put Marchand. Like, I've gone over it in my head over and over and over again. I still kind of like my idea of just leaving Bennett, Rodriguez and Samoskevich alone and just put Kachuk and Marchand with Lundell. I know that sounds crazy, but considering they're both be coming right off an injury, right into the playoffs, basically, I don't know. I don't know where you put them. No, Mackey's not. I don't think Mackey's going to the fourth line. I think that would be a stupid move. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I think that would be foolishness to put him on the fourth line. Yeah, and Fly Guy, we talk about Nico Sturm. I hope we can re-sign him. Oleshka says we are officially the meanest team in the league, not even close. That's true. Yeah. Unfortunately, though, with Marchand coming in, Greer is probably out. Now, Fly Guy, you're saying Marchand, Sturm, Greer. I'd like that. But they put Nosek on that right wing the other day. Now, what Maurice does, who knows? Who knows? You could do anything. You can make a viable argument for Marchand on the left side of every line. You could. You really could. So that's what I thought was going to happen already, Fly. I hope that's what would happen. Mason, he doesn't know when he's scheduled to play, but I think he's hoping to be able to get on the ice tomorrow. I think he's hoping to be able to be on the ice for like the pregame in Boston tomorrow. Yeah, Kate says valid. 4 victories, 3 shutouts, and only 1 goal allowed. That's kingly. That's crazy, right? Vincent says it's not crazy, but 2 broken wheels with Lundell can Anton carry them. Speed might be an issue. Yeah, that is the concern there. It's just the Bennett with Rodriguez and Samoskevich is just like all speed. It just creates so much chaos. Whether that happens in the playoffs or whether it's going to be full-time next year, it's coming. But it just creates such a mismatch all over the place. Every time those 3 guys are on the ice, the opposing team's defense is like scrambling because it's just so much speed, and you never know where Bennett and Rodriguez are going to do because they're crazy, especially Rodriguez. You think Bennett is crazy. I mean, Bennett is crazy, but Rodriguez is Cocoa Puffs. Those 2 dudes. Rodriguez, in that sense, he may not be like the get under your skin type of guy, but in terms of throwing his body around just with reckless abandon, Rodriguez is nuts. JC said Marchand, Erod, Luosterainen would be a headache for the defense on third line. Yeah, again, that's a good point. That's a good point. Coco, right? Marchand with Luosterainen is your pick. Where do they put Bohlquist? I don't know, because when Chucky comes back, if you went Barkov, Reinhart, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Chucky, Samoskevich, Lundell, Marchand, Luosterainen, you've got Sturm with Bohlquist and Rodriguez. Who else do we have? I mean, that's your 4th line I just said. Sturm with Bohlquist and Rodriguez, right? Yeah, that would be your 4th line. So who knows what Maurice is going to do? Yeah, exactly, Fly. No, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Right? It's like, it's a really good problem to have. Ekblad, Mythical says Ekblad needs to take a nice size pay cut. Well, we decided as the stream, we'll just give him an 8-year deal for $1 million per, and then we don't have to worry about any salary cap issues the rest of his career. He just needs to sacrifice for the team. Right? Silver says, I guess now we know why Sordiff went down. Yeah. But he's another guy that next year, I mean, loaded. I'd really like to see us re-sign Sturm. I mean, the dude's got like a 63% face-off percentage. I mean, that's for the quality of guys that we have on the 4th line, that much extra possession. I mean, that's a whole ass playoff series worth right there. Just that one thing alone. Exactly, JC. Yeah. I think it was JC that said Ekblad said he'd stay for like 50 cents in a Kit Kat bar or something. Kate says I throw Marchand and with Greer just for the extra chemistry alone. And what Vincent says, the 4th line will be a rotation like last year, 5 guys. It's a good point because, Okposo and Lorentz were in and out, back and forth. Yeah, exactly. Olechka says, build the statue for Zito already. So JC says, I did. I told Ekblad, you can't captain a point in Detroit. He said he'll sign whatever they offer. Kit Kat bar is pretty good, especially the big ones. I mean, I'm just saying. I did a lot of things I do for a Kit Kat bar, not a Klondike bar. A Klondike bar was that commercial. Still 5 guys, right? Captain a boat. Wait. Yeah, speaking of Stanley, we need Utah to beat the Leafs tonight. That's right. We're a few points ahead, though, right? Yeah, Klondike bars are like meh. It's mint, right? You give Eki 3x3. Boy, that'd be nice if he would take it. So we're 4 points ahead of the Leafs, but they have a game in hand. Hey, Jackson, I'm good. When I feel good, my energy feels normal, and then it crashes and I pass out. And Tampa's, if I'm Toronto right now, my concern at this point isn't so much catching Florida. They're going to have their time to do that because they've got those 3 games. But if they don't be careful, they're going to end up not even have a home ice advantage against Tampa Bay. You better watch it. Who's in the playoffs today? Is it the Sabres and the Flyers in the wild card spot today? Let's see. Senators are 69, Jackets at 70, Rangers at 68, so they're out again. And the freaking Bruins are only 3 points out of a playoff spot. Ain't that some shit? She says, Ekblad is a boat captain and loves to fish, be out in the water. You said you told me it'd be hard to captain a boat if he leaves Florida and go to Detroit. His response is, yeah, I thought of that. I'll sign whatever, right? Don't forget, he sold the boat, though, JC. He's a pilot now. He sold the boat. He's a pilot now. I found that out over the summer. There was an article I reviewed on one of the podcasts this summer. Now he bought a plane. He's a pilot. That's cool. He obviously doesn't need any more of our money, though. If you can buy boats and planes, Aaron, you don't need to he don't need to have any more of our money. Still has a boat, sold has a boat. Oh, so he had 2 boats. He sold a boat and still has a boat and a plane. That's even more evidence that he doesn't need our money. Minimum wage for you, Aaron, so we can keep the team around. Steven says, what if Boston goes on a run and we get another Florida-Boston series? I mean, it's entirely within the realm of possibility. It would be shocking if it happened, but it's not like Boston's 6 or 7 points out. They do have a few more games played, though, so that's probably a bigger issue than anything. But Boston is still only 1 good week away from being tied for the 8th seed or some crap like that. Olechka says, Steven, not interested in the one-sided pounding. Boston has no chance against us in the playoffs. Well, what do you think is going to happen if we play Columbus? Or is Boston not interested in a one-sided pounding? So, Olechka, you like to get pounded from both sides. Is that what I'm hearing, Olechka? Is that where we're going with this now? Or should that have been Trey's comment? If Trey was here, that's the comment Trey would have made. But since Trey is not here to make that comment, I had to do it for him. He must be sleeping. He has a boat and a plane, right? He's got a side gig with Tony Montana. Oh, my God. He's a mule. Yeah, he's Clint Eastwood. Yeah. It's me with the OnlyFans page, not Trey. Nah, man, I think that's what happened to Trey. I think Trey actually, as soon as he figured out the women really love that championship belt, I think that he's got an OnlyFans where he just wears nothing but the Panthers championship belt. He's probably doing pretty good for himself. He's probably doing pretty good. That's why he's not here as often. He's got business to attend to. No harm. No hate, man. Don't hate the player. Lechka says, I meant that I don't want to be bored. Boston will get obliterated. I'm good with being bored in the first round. I want to win another cup, right? I mean, I get what you're saying, but I want these guys to be like as rested and energetic as possible come the later rounds. JC says, so what I'm saying is he surely doesn't need the money if he has that square grouper money. Yeah, that's the only thing for me, Alechka, is like the thought about playing Tampa in the first round. It's just the difference in our health. No disrespect to Columbus. Well, let's be honest, right? Who do you guys want to play in the Stanley Cup Finals? The Blackhawks or the Oilers? You know what I mean? It's like at some point there's a legitimate difference. Silva says, okay, but what if we traded Sordiv, Sachin, Samoskevich, Black, and St. Martin to Florida in exchange for a first-round pick, free first-rounder? That's an interesting thought. Hadn't thought about that. Oh, which, by the way, a question that we had on the stream a couple weeks ago got answered, I believe, by ESPN. So we were looking at how far in advance can you trade draft picks? And it must be only 3 years because that's why, or first-round draft picks at least, because what I heard ESPN say is that you can't trade a 2028 first-round pick, but you can trade a 27 second-round pick that can turn into a 28 first. So you must not be able to trade firsts more than, I guess, 2 or 3 years in advance of that draft. Because that's why we couldn't, that was part of what ESPN was saying, why it was a 27 second that would turn into a 28 first, because that would be the first we'd want to give up, but we couldn't offer them specifically a 28 first on its own. I guess because it's too far in the future. iDog says, I wouldn't want to play the Blackhawks. Somehow Spencer would go God mode. Now, just for shits and giggles. Just for shits and giggles. No, come back. No. I was looking to see if the Blackhawks went undefeated in their last 20 games, would they have a chance to make the playoffs? No, they only got 18 games left. The best they can do is like 80. What's that? 1836, 85 points. That's the best they could do. So they can't even go undefeated the rest of the way and make the playoffs. So that ain't happening. Where it was it's just Calgary and Vancouver back and forth. Oh, no, wait a minute. The Blues. Hey, look at the Blues. They're right there too. That's interesting. Jay says, who would you rather face in the finals? Dallas, Vegas, or Colorado? St. Louis. St. Louis. Hey, Brian. I feel pretty good today. Yeah. I feel pretty good. Choose the right woman. They know what to say to get you feeling better. That's what I'll say. Kate says, Colorado for the full circle moment if we beat them. Yeah. Or Vegas. right? I mean, we owe Vegas more. I mean, Colorado beat us, Vegas beat us, but Vegas beat us with our freaking players. Let's be honest. Vegas took our guys. We paid Vegas to take our guys, and then they beat us with the guys that were our guys. It's not okay, right? It's definitely not okay. Meadow says they have gotten points in every game since the Jones trade, and Knight hasn't lost yet. Oh yeah, IDK, sure. Yeah, we were beat to shit, no doubt. Absolutely. The run we had to go on at the end of that season to even make the playoffs, it was absurd. I mean, and the style that we played was just so much more physical. Yeah, we've also only given up one goal since Jones. Good point, Ryan. Good point. Yeah, Marchessault took the Smythe home to add insult to injury. Thanks for reminding me, Kate. Hey, thank you, outwardly. Thank you, bud. Thank you. Says, glad you're feeling better, Jaws. I've been into hockey for only a few years. Can you explain how the Caps and Rangers have basically switched success in a year? Management. The Rangers have not made the appropriate moves where the Caps did in terms of taking the older veterans that they did have and enmeshing the right younger guys over the course of a period of time. Now, you can't really blame the Rangers too much for that because they were kind of building. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and you kind of figured that they'd pick up where they left off. But the more that you look at how the Rangers kind of dismantled themselves this year and the way that they ended up losing that series last year, remember, people forget, Rangers had a 2-1 series lead in that series. They had a 2-1 lead. They beat us twice in overtime. I don't think the Rangers had good team chemistry, where I think with Washington they obviously have. They've managed some kind of level of stability until they got some better younger players. But I think the Rangers was almost like a collection of assassins that just didn't get along all that well. They just never seemed to have much of a vibe, you know? So, and, you know, there's something to be said when you got somebody like Ovechkin and he's, you know, playing the way he is. I know he didn't do so well last year in the playoffs. That's a concern. But better leadership too, better management. How do we get to eBay? Oh, okay. Windy City says the Blackhawks have a new swagger with Jones gone and Knight as our goalie. I've heard you guys have been having fun. That's good. That's good. It's good for Spencer. He deserves a chance to be the guy. He really, and I mean that wholeheartedly. He's been through enough to have earned a chance to just here you go, Spencer. Here you go. It's not a great team. Do what you can, right? He's earned the right to be a starter. I think at this point, everything he's gone through with the up and down and everything else here. JC says game used jersey collection has grown by 3 picked up Mammon, Purcell, and Bournefoot. Nice. eBay is awesome but very dangerous. Yeah, IDK. Yeah, the Rangers series was scary. Not as scary as almost blowing a 3-0 lead. No. I hear you, JC. I appreciate that. I gotta have. I mean, I know I have some cards and stuff I still need to list. I sorted through them a little bit last week while I was sick. But in terms of like any more shirts and merch like that, I don't have the money to buy the stuff right now. I'm hoping playoffs go well like they do most every year, and I'm able to replenish some stock over the summer. I would have been able to do it last year. That was my plan. I had a lot of plans last summer, you know, and then everybody knows what went down. So I just been kind of I'm just hanging on to the rope until the playoffs come and we get some, and things open up a bit. I know, says every series got more heart attack inducing than the one before. I was worried about the Rangers one because we don't lose overtime games in the playoffs, and they did it twice in a row. I was worried that was going to be the end of it. Hey, True. Don Zito, Cordial. I like that. Mythical says, I don't think Spencer appreciates what he had here in Florida with such a winning culture. I mean, on one hand, I can understand that perspective. I see it differently, but I've said that all along. I see it differently that he was drafted in the position he was with the potential that he had for a reason. He'd done a lot of work to get to that point. And it's one thing if you're an AHL goalie and you're not ready to come up and you're not ready to take the next step and you're not ready to get more ice time and you're not putting in the work and all of that, that's different. But with Spencer, he basically knew that nothing he did, it wasn't going to matter how well he played. Bob was the guy, $10 million. It was an unmovable deal. Even if Bob was playing poorly like he was the first couple of years, that just made the deal even more unmovable. So from the perspective of the time he got drafted until, the player assistance program, then he played a whole year at the AHL last year, proved himself. He's come up now this year, proved himself. And there was still nothing that was going to change. He was just going to be a backup for however long Bob wanted to play. And, Spencer 23, then he'd be 24, then 25, and then Vasilevsky, I think Vasilevsky had already won a cup practically at this age. I mean, Vasilevsky, and I know Spencer Knight's not Vasilevsky, but he's 30 now. So he came up. Oh, I didn't mean to remove that. Hold on a second. Vasilevsky would have started. This is what? If he's 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. I guess he was playing when he was 20. And so 21, 22, 23. By the time Vasilevsky was 23, he was starting 65 games with a 2.62 and a 9.20, right? And then what was the first cup they won? Was it 1920? They won, or was it 1819? So the point is that with Spencer, I just kind of feel like for him to continue to sit there and be blocked, I like the fact that he's got an opportunity to be the clear-cut number one, no questions asked. That's going to be his job for years unless he blows it. And I think that's what the kid wanted all the way around. Yeah, you got the great culture and all of that. So that's my opinion there anyway. Take a sip of water here. JC says, if we do not win the cup, is this season considered a bust? I would say I would be extremely disappointed if we didn't make it back to the finals. Looking around at the Eastern Conference, if we are healthy and we play the way we're capable of, we really should win this conference. I know the Caps are good, and I know Tampa's better, but we really should win the conference. Now, Stanley Cup, what's the health? Who are we playing? The other team is good too, right? Stanley Cup's a whole different ball of wax. But at this point, I would be pretty damn surprised / disappointed if we didn't at least make it back to the finals. I think that's where my bar is right now. Yeah, like Logan says, no, we can't expect to win the cup, right? Logan says, I'd rather go Bennett, Kachuk, Sam, Miskevich with Marchand and Reinhart and Barkey, or Lundy and Erod. I mean, those are, yeah, I think it's all going to happen. I don't know how many of you watched Maurice's little presser. I think it was before the Buffalo game, but after we had gotten Marchand. And what he basically said was that as soon as Marchand's playing, he's going to move him around all over the place to see how he looks with a lot of different guys. He wants Marchand to play with as many different guys as possible. So now, is that going to mean 2, 3, 4? Or is it going to be trying him on 1, 2, and 3? I don't know. IDK, you're still scared about Chucky? I mean, look, let's put it this way. That's another reason to win the division. It's a real another reason to win the division. Because let's say he's not going to be ready till the second round. Columbus without Chucky or Tampa without Chucky? You see what I'm saying? So winning those Toronto games, right now, as long as we keep pace, win 2 of those 3 Toronto games, we're gold. iDog says, I don't think we'd get past the second round this year. I didn't think we'd get past the second round this year, so I was relatively calm when we went on those losing streaks. Seeing the new additions make me think we can win, which has me more stressed. It has added some hope, right? Like we're all just kind of sitting here as fans, and it's like, we know eventually, right? Eventually there will be a year we won't make it to the finals. It's coming, right? We went from getting swept by Tampa. We went from getting swept by Tampa to now legitimately we could be in our 3rd finals in a row. I mean, that was just like, it just happened. And, you know, Maurice, right? Maurice Kachuk, obviously the big differences there. So I think all the emotions is like, yeah, there's the hope and the worry and the concern and all of that. But it's also the knowledge that we've all seen it. All great teams at some point, they're going to lose. At some point, it's going to happen. So whether that's this year, next year, whenever that's going to be, you know, and Zito, especially this year, though. And look, we paid with some assets. Let's not pretend we didn't. But he really, like, Giroux was an extra piece. Giroux was a luxury. The President's Trophy season, we didn't need Giroux. We didn't have to do that. That was a luxury on top of luxuries, right? Sherratt, I mean, okay, but this year we had some very specific needs, and this is what Maurice was talking about, which Zito went out and addressed the very specific needs that we had, and he had to do with Seth Jones and Brad Marchand and Sturm. Don't leave out Sturm. Sturm's going to be as much an important piece of that, if not more. Kenneth says you need to thank Marchand for hitting Bob's stick now that he's here, or it wouldn't be 3 in a row. Yeah, that's true, Kenneth. That's true. Ido says eventually we'll be where Boston is now, so we'll enjoy this while we can. I mean, eventually we're gonna be where I talked about this in the podcast today, iDog. Eventually the decision that Boston just had to make with Marchand, 34, 35, 36, guy wants to stay a few more years. Should we extend Kachuk at 35 years old for 2 or 3 more years? Barkov at 33 or 34. Reinhart at 35. You know, I mean, all these guys, eventually we're going to, that's happening. So, but that's a while off. And so far, as long as we got Zito filling in the gaps, it's going to be a ride as long as we can make it. Scientist says, based on what I've seen, how do you compare Sturm so far to Stenlund last year? It's the one game, but please sign him. I want to see that extension come across my desk today, Bill. Today. I know you're watching right now. I got my pen. I'm ready. Send the extension over. I'll give you the approval. 3 years, 1.75. 1.75, 3 years. He was making 2 in San Jose, which has got to be 1.75 in tax-free Florida. All right? We'll find the money. We'll find the money. All right? Give Ekblad $900,000 instead of $1 million, whatever it is. I like Sturm. I really do. Obviously, it's just the one game, but 62, 63% in the faceoff circle, that's just going to be, that's going to pay dividends. No disrespect to Nosek, but that's 10%. 10% is a lot in the faceoff world. That's insane. There's very few guys in the league that get over 60%, that take the draws consistently. And he has improved every year. He's only 29. Like, he's got a few good years left. It's not like he's played a ton of games, right? It's not like he's played a ton of games. Benjamin says, we'll never get rid of Barkov. Yeah, I don't think Barkov would be one that we would lose out on. Some of the other guys, like Tkachuk, right? Okay, Tkachuk could be at some point. Bennett, obviously, at some point. Reinhardt might be able to stay the rest of the way because that new deal, he's going to be pretty old by the time that new deal is up. Vincent says they won't send you papers, Dawes, no matter what you say here. That's what you think. I got papers. They just cease and desist, shit like that, you know? They'll send me papers. If I talk enough shit, they'll send me papers. It just might not be the papers I want. I guarantee you, Vincent, if I start selling Bill Zito, Don Zito Corey Leon shirts with Zito's face on it, and I start selling those, I bet you I get some papers. I guarantee you I get some papers then. Stacks and stacks. Kenneth says, who are you trading for Tippett in the offseason, and will there be no room for him? Owen Tippett's old news. It's okay. We're good now. Sam Miscavige is so much better than Tippett ever thought he was going to be. And Tippett's a good player. Tippett's so big. Sam Miscavige is, I mean, you know, he's looking that good in the top 6 as a rookie on a good team already, right? I mean, think about how fast Sam Miscavige has to be to still look fast with Sam Bennett on his line. You see what I'm saying? So, no, we're good. I'm out on Owen Tippett. Give me Sturm. Give me Sturm at 4C. And the other thing, it gives us more center. It gives us more insurance at center. What did we give Boquist? 1.5? So if you got Boquist at 1.5, now we obviously know Giles is not coming up next year because Giles got moved. So that's not happening. So if you wanted to go Sturm, Sordif, and Boquist on the 4th line next year, you could afford to give Sturm 1.75. He could take a little bit of a razor cut because of the tax thing, right? And to stay with a Stanley Cup champion contender instead of being in San Jose. Yeah, Giles was 25. Yeah. JC says Tippett's shot is filthy, so much power but zero accuracy, like Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn. Drew says, hey, Jaws, right on the Don Zito Carlito and mugshot would bring some revenue. I've got another idea too. I gotta find out. I assume, Oh, Greer signed for one more year also? When did that happen? That must have happened earlier in the season and I forgot. Kenneth says Sam O skating circles around Ekblad in practice. Ekblad liable to give him a whack. Stop making me look bad, kid. Right? And Sam Eskevic, he's got the jaw for it. He's got the jaw for it too. You know? So Greer signed for another year. So we're just like, what's going to be left to do? If you re-sign Bennett and you manage to keep Ekblad and you can re-sign Sturm, is there anything we even would need to do? JC says, brother, if you don't make the Don Zito shirts or the Florida Rat Pack shirts, we can't help you. All right. I will do the best I can. Here's Trey. Now, Trey, tell me the truth. Trey. You're not on the streams as much because you've opened up an OnlyFans where the only thing you wear is the championship belt. Because after the experience at the mall where you saw how much the chickies liked it, you opened up an OnlyFans. That's all you're wearing is the belt, and you're getting paid. Business says chicken is what we want. Where? Where are you going to, where? If you re-sign Ekblad, you're going to leave him with Forsling. Jones is already paid. Mikla is already paid. Kulikov is already paid. You're going to put Chikrin on the bottom line with Kulikov? I mean, okay. But how much money is that going to charge you? You wear a Mackey jersey and the OnlyFans stream, right? Trey says, no, it's just a lot of night shifts having on Kyle's sleep schedule. I hear you. I was trying to make you some extra money. It's not a bad idea, though, Trey. I'm just saying. You saw the magic that thing did. TK says this is the second German-born player named Sturm on the Panthers. Coincidence? I think not. iDog says, good idea. Panthers players and Maurice figuring out which games in the regular season they're going to put 100% effort in and which ones they're going to coast through. They seem to have come out of the break just laser beam focused. The team is like a machine right now. It really is. I mean, they're just playing at a level. Remember last year? I'm just thinking about this. Remember last year when we had like the 12, 13 game streak, whatever it was, where we only allowed 2 goals or fewer? Well, we got 3 out of 4 shutouts. We've allowed 1 goal in 4 games. And what a way to get Vanacek started off, right? He looks interesting. Obviously, I haven't watched him play a lot. I like his quickness and his ability to move side to side, and he knocks the puck to the boards a lot. He seemed to be very active with his stick. I like that part. Now, the one thing I wasn't overly thrilled about is that a couple of times when he was letting rebounds in front a little bit, like kind of purposeful, like just kind of pushing the puck out where maybe he could have pushed it to the side. Fly Guys, he had some issues tracking the puck on rebounds. Yeah, I think we're kind of saying the similar thing. Yeah. IDK says, albeit not against great teams except for Tampa. No, that's true. That's totally true. But we're still doing a lot better than we did. John Sphaler says Marchand does not fit our system. I'm not sure I understand that, brother. He's like made for the system. It would be, it's like having a second Kachuk, only a little bit slower. Which ain't, I mean, and we ain't worried about how fast Kachuk can skate. And that might be the one thing that keeps the two of them off the line together. Bennett, Kachuk, and Marchand. He might not want Kachuk and Marchand on the same line, because of Marchand's lack of speed and Kachuk's lack of speed. Well, Svela, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but come playoff time, a lot of that's, and that's the concern with Samoskevich, right? Is that, a lot of times when you get to the playoffs, everything's tightened up, and the guys that are pure speed, it kind of gets tempered down a little bit because they don't have as much room, which is why you never know how young guy like Samoskevich is going to perform in the playoffs until you see it. But with Marchand, he's not going to be as shifty as he once was. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. But in terms of what Craig is saying, hockey IQ makes up for the slower guy. Yeah. Lil J says Yager wasn't that slow. Joe Thornton was the slowest Panther I've ever seen. You never watched Chris Wells skate. If you ever watched Chris Wells try to skate, it was like a drunk giraffe on Quaaludes. Yeah, scientist says each line needs a speed guy. Yeah. I understand what you're trying to say, John, but I feel like he's going to fit in. I really do. And remember, we don't have to have him. I mean, we could put him on the bottom. We could put him on the fourth line, right? Like if it was some kind of an issue, but he in his press conference today, one thing that he did say was he felt rejuvenated. And like John, like remember when we got Seth Jones? And there are people thinking, well, maybe he didn't look all good, maybe he's a little bit lazy, etc. And you've seen how hard he's playing now, how fast he's skating. A lot of things change when you can trust the players around you, right? And both Boston guys that I talked to felt like the Bruins were asking Marchand to do way too much at this age because of the level of the players that were on the Bruins. And so I think some of the same thing kind of happened with Jones, where they were just asking him to do so much that his performance suffered. And even Jones himself said that he was trying to do too much. So I have a feeling that Marchand, if you just give him his role and let him do what he's good at doing, and you don't force him to try to do too much, I do think it's going to fit. Where? I don't know. From shift to shift. And remember, we saw that in the playoffs last year. Like at some point, it just became there were no lines. Like every combination was out there at any given moment. And that's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. You got so many guys that can do so many different things. It's just beautiful. Kenneth says you can throw them on the ice after every time the Panthers score. Can't be into more system. Hey, true. Yeah. Scientist says the only concern is disrupting the current chemistry. Now, I will say one thing. We will get an idea, because Marie said when Marchand gets there, he's going to try moving them all over the place because he wants to get him as much experience playing with the other guys as possible. Perfect. Where Maurice moves the other guys to, I'm interested to see, because I know Maurice likes everybody to have played with everybody for the most part. Now, as an example, Samoskevich has played with Bennett. He's played with Lundell. He hasn't played with Sturm, and he hasn't played with Barkov. So which way are those guys going to move around? Could we see a game where you see Bennett, Kachuk, Marchand, and because you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs, maybe Maurice puts Samoskevich with Barkov and Reinhart and puts Verhaeghe with Lundell and Luosterainen just for a game or two, just to see how the chemistry is between Barkov and Samo come playoff time. If Samoskevich is in the top 6, eventually there's going to be a shift that he's going to end up on the ice with Barkov. Happens all the time, right? I haven't seen him, or did he on the power play, though? I take that back now. He's been on the power play with him. So that's actually incorrect. I'm thinking about that right now. In the regular line, he hasn't, but he put him on that first power play, which I've just been so shocked by Maurice and how he's handled Samoskevich. He's really, with all of our concerns about him holding back the younger players, he's allowed him to progress as the season went on and rewarded him accordingly. I'm really happy to see that. Hey, thank you, John. Thank you, Bud. Thank you, Bud. Are bluefish always angry? They never stop eating. They just swim through the water and they just eat and they eat and they eat. One time, John, we were at Holliver Pier, which is no longer there, and the bluefish were all over the place. There was no bait. You couldn't catch any pilchers. You couldn't catch any mullet. And we got tired of losing spoons because they're like $4 and $5 a piece. And the bluefish teeth is like razors, right? So we put on 2-ounce pyramid sinkers and threw bare hooks. We threw big 2-0 long shank bare hooks, and we were catching a bluefish, dragging the bare, let the hook at the bottom, and then just bringing it up real quick. Yeah, you have to use the steel. I don't like to use the steel because I like to use the artificials, and the steel kind of inhibits the motion and everything like that. We would use 30-pound test line as the leader, 30-pound test, 25, 30-pound test. But, you're also talking 40 years ago. The quality of the stuff was Andy 30-pound test was that was the expensive stuff. You know what I mean? That the quality of the line now is just galaxies better than what was available back then. So we got tired of losing our jigs and spoons, and we just threw bare hooks, and we caught bluefish all day long on bare hooks. Only day it's ever happened, because the water was so muddy, they would just see the little bit of the shimmer and they'd eat it. Lil J says, I throw bigger hooks for snakeheads down here in South Florida. They're insane. Yeah. Scientist says, I know that Maurice said he's looking at Marchand as a penalty killer. Who do I think he'll pair him up with? He talked about that a little bit. He wants to try him with everybody because he kind of knows that Lundell and Luosterainen are a pair. So who did he say he was going to put him with? Did he say with Sturm? He said it. The answer to your question is, if you watch the press conference that Maurice gave before the Sabres game, after we got Marchand, he said somebody else specifically that, it might have been Barkov, but he's also trying to maybe work in, I think he said Boquist a little bit too, because he's trying to limit Barkov and Reinhart's time on ice. He's trying to knock back their time on ice a little bit. Top water fishing for blues is a lot of fun. Yeah, depends on the location, right? I used to fish for them off the pier. Top water fishing off the pier, it gets dicey because your line is kind of at an angle where, like if you're on a boat and your line is kind of straight, right? But when you're on your pier, the line's a little bit of an angle, and it just makes it so much easier for them to cut you off, because instead of just one straight line. There's any number of inches that they could come in at and cut you off because your line is at an angle. Yeah, scientist. All right, guys, I got to get ready to go. It's 1 o'clock. Got the Monday eBay pack and ship. Apparently, I have shirts to make. I have one that really would be a good idea, but I have to sort through how long can I sell the shirts before the guys figure out I'm using their likeness on the shirt and come get me. That's the question. We got ideas I got. So, but hey, if the Panthers sue me, right, because I'm selling shirts with players' faces on it, it's attention for the channel, right? There's no bad attention, right? Exactly, Trey. All right, everybody. Appreciate all the support. Thank you all for super chats. Thank you for all the members. Podcast will be up within about 15 minutes. Is already produced. So, and I can write it. That's a good point, Vincent. I can write another book. All right, I'll do it. Yeah. What can it hurt? All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.